Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Krishna Balaram, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Krishna Balaram, Jaya Giri Govardhan. Jaya Radha Govardhandari, Radha Govardhandari, Shri Radhe. Jaya Radha Govardhandari, Radha Govardhandari, Shri Radhe. Joy Om Vishapad Paramahamsa Parivraj Jakatashi Shrimada's Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Maharaj Ki. Joy Om Vishapad Paramahamsa Parivraj Jakatashi Shrimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Maharaj Ki. Nantakoti Vaishnavanda Ki. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki. Primsakaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Dvaita Gadadha Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Shri Shri Radhakrishna Gopinath Chamakund Radhakund Giri Govardhan Ki. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki. Shri Mayapur Navadip Dham Ki. Gangamai Ki. Tulsi Devi Ki. Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki. Nitai Gaura Premanandi. Oh glories to the Samudavaris. Oh glories to the Samudavaris. Oh glories to the Samudavaris. Oh glories to Shishi Guru and Gauranga. Glories to Prabhupada Ki Jai. Okay, so we'll continue on with Caitanya Caritamrita, the Madhya Lila, Chapter 1. The later pastimes of Lord Caitanya. Text 221 to 224. Jai Jai Sri Caitanya, Jai Nityananda. Jai Advaita Chandra, Jai Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Jai Sri Caitanya, Jai Nityananda. Jai Advaita Chandra, Jai Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Jai Sri Caitanya, Jai Nityananda. Jai Advaita Chandra, Jai Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Okay, so we'll do 221, which is on the board. Saba Pasha Anga Magi Chalana Samaya. Saba Pasha Anga Magi Chalana Samaya. Prabhupada Kahi Kichu Kariya Vinaya. Prabhupada Kahi Kichu Kariya Vinaya. Saba Pasha Anga Magi Chalana Samaya. Prabhupada Kahi Kichu Kariya Vinaya. Saba Pasha Anga Magi Chalana Samaya. Prabhupada Kahi Kichu Kariya Vinaya. Saba Pasha Anga Magi Chalana Samaya. Prabhupada Kahi Kichu Kariya Vinaya. Saba Pasha Anga Magi Chalana Samaya. Prabhupada Kahi Kichu Kariya Vinaya. Sabha Pasha Anga Magi Chalana Samaya. Prabhupada Kahi Kichu Kariya Vinaya. Any ladies like to chant? Sabha Pasha Anga Magi Chalana Samaya. Prabhupada Kahi Kichu Kariya Vinaya. Sabha Pasha Anga Magi Chalana Samaya. Prabhupada Kahi Kichu Kariya Vinaya. How we do the word for word. It's interesting. There must be either a typo in that edition, or is it a typo in this edition? Because it's Angya in this edition. It says, yeah, I think it's a typo on that one. That's the 1975 edition on the board there. What edition this one is? Yeah, it's the 1975 one as well. Someone's done a typo. Sabha, all of them. Pasha, from. Angya, order. Magi, taking. Chalana Samaya, at the time of departure. Prabhupada, at the lotus feet of the Lord. Kahe, say. Kichu, something. Kariya, doing. Vinaya, submission. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. After begging the permission of all the Vaishnavas present, the two brothers at the time of their departure humbly submitted something at the lotus feet of the Lord. This is Rupa and Sanatan after they've just been initiated by Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu, and they were given the names by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Rupa and Sanatan, and he said that, told them that you two are my old servants. And there was a nice exchange that they had when they humbly submitted their submission to Lord Caitanya with a straw in their mouth as a sign of their humility. So this is text 122. Ihan haite chala prabhu ihan nahikaya yadyapi tomari bhakti kare goda raja. They said, quote, Dear Lord, although the King of Bengal, Nawab Hussaina Saha, is very respectful toward you, you have no other business here. Kindly depart from this place. Because Rupa and Sanatan were working for the Muslim magistrate administration at that time, and they had heard that the Nawab Hussain Shah was a little bit envious towards Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who's concerned about him becoming too influential. And so the two brothers, in the middle of the night, they snuck out to go and see Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, firstly to have his darshan and submit themselves to the Lord as his servants, and also to warn him that this Nawab Hussain Shah could be potentially inimical towards you, so you should move on from this place. To text 223. Tatapi yavana jati na kari pratite tirta yatraya ita sangata bala nahiriti. Translation, quote, Although the king is respectful toward you, he still belongs to the Yavana class and should not be believed. We think that there is no need for such a great crowd to accompany you on your pilgrimage to Vrindavan. So he belongs to the Yavana class, which means the meat-eater class. And because Rupa and Sanatan were quite intimately, it says here, Yavana Jati by caste a Mohammedan, or Yavana means a meat-eater. So because Rupa and Sanatan, they initially had come from very respectable Brahmana families, but because of their association with the Yavana Mohammedans, and they were employed by them, they were outcasts from the Brahminical class at that time. So they were they were lamenting because of their fallen situation, because of this bad association that they'd had with this Nawab and were engaged in his service. So they're asking Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu also that you should leave, but also if you're planning on going to Vrindavan, do not take a large crowd with you, because it's not the right mood. There's no need for you to travel to Vrindavan with a large crowd. Tirtha Yatra, and going on pilgrimage. Ita, so Sangata, crowd. Yeah, it's not good to go with a big crowd on pilgrimage to Vrindavan. Not the etiquette. It says Riti, not the etiquette. Not etiquette. Nahi Riti, not the etiquette to go to Vrindavan with a large crowd. Text 224. Yara sange chale e loka laksha koti Vrindavan yatra e nahi paripati. Quote, Dear Lord, you are going to Vrindavan with hundreds and thousands of people following you, and this is not a fitting way to go on a pilgrimage. Purport. Sometimes, for business purposes, large crowds of men are taken to different places of pilgrimage and money is collected from them. That is a very lucrative business. But Rupa and Sanatana Goswamis, expressing their opinion in the presence of Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu, disapproved of such crowded pilgrimages. Actually, when Lord Caitanya visited Vrindavan, he visited it alone and accepted a servant only at his devotee's request. He never visited Vrindavan with crowds of people for a commercial purpose. Omagana Trimarandasya Jananjana Shalakaya Chakshu Nitamyena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Yes, so lots of nice instructions about the mood to go to the holy dham. Any holy tirtha is to go in the right mood, the right consciousness. So Rupa and Sanatana, they're advising Lord Caitanya not to go to Vrindavan with hundreds and thousands of people following you. It's not a fitting way to go on a pilgrimage. So we can see, as it says in the purport, sometimes for business purposes, large crowds of men are taken to different places of pilgrimage and money is collected from them. And unfortunately, when we go to Vrindavan, that's very much so the state that a lot of these tirthas are in Vrindavan now. You go to Nandagram or Bharshana, and it's very much so driven towards trying to get money out of you. And it kind of ruins the mood, actually, to a degree, the pundas there. And when you go to Radhakund is very famous for the pundas extracting money out of you. When we were in, I think it was 2018, I was on Kesava's tour. He takes a tour group with him every year to Vrindavan. I recommend going on it if you want to go, if you haven't been there and you want to go on a nice tour. I'll do a plug for Kesava Prabhu from Melbourne. It's a nice tour. Like you've been on it, haven't you, Chara? Yeah, anyone else been on Kesava's tour here to India? No. Worth going on if you haven't been before. Kesava's been doing it for many years now, so he's very familiar with all the holy places there and the pastime places. And he takes a nice small group, maybe up to about a dozen people, and you feel sheltered there, and you go out each day to one of the places, and the pastimes are talked about there, and you do kirtan and chant japa there. So it's very nice introduction to go to one of these holy places. But we were there in 2018, and we had Padma Lochan with us. And we went up to Nandagram, which is Lord Krishna's town where Nanda Maharaj used to live. So it's Nandagoan, the place of Nandaraj. And so we went up there, and then as soon as we got up there, they sort of targeted us, and then Kesava was trying to tell them to back off a little bit, and so they had it all strategy worked out till they separated Kesava, who was being too vocal, and sort of isolated everybody, and then they got Padma Lochan into one of the side temples. There's a temple there of Lord Shiva on the side, where I think they offer the bhoga. Once it's offered to the deities, they offer it to Lord Shiva, and they got Padma Lochan up against the wall in this room, and it was sort of extorting money out of him. It's an unpleasant experience. We can laugh at it now, but these things do go on within the holy dhams, unfortunately, and it does ruin the mood. So you've got to have your smarts about you, and it helps to go with a group of people, so you have a bit of protection from the pandas over there. And also at Radha Kund is very, very famous for the pandas who are expert at extorting money out of the pilgrims who visit Radha Kund. So it's the most sacred place in the universe, and these pandas take advantage of that. And there's one there, Mohan Prabhu. I like Mohan Prabhu. He's very nice. He did like when we go there, he knows me now as well. And he always do a nice little puja for us. And it's done in a nice mood now. It's kind of the mood they do it in. So you're going to give them a donation, but the mood is done in a pleasant sort of a mood. So I don't mind so much giving a little dakshin to him for his service there. But apparently this Mohan was quite aggressive many years ago in the way he was extracting donations out of the pilgrims. And apparently one day I heard a story that he fell into the Kund, into Radha Kund. He slipped because it can be slippery on the steps there. And he fell into the Kund, but he couldn't swim, so he's actually going under the water at Radha Kund and was drowning. And then, that's what I heard, is that Radharani appeared to him, because it's her Kund, and she was chastising him, saying, "Why are you cheating my devotees for? Why are you doing this for?" And chastised him quite severely. So anyway, he was pulled out of the Kund, and he lived. He didn't drown, but I think after that it somewhat affected his mood. He realised what he was doing was not the right mood. So these things do go on within the holy Dham. So also it's advised here that when you go to these holy theatres, Lord Caitanya is showing by his own example, even though he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Vrindavan Dham is his personal private pleasure abode, he's showing us the mood, because he's come in the mood of a devotee of Krishna, he's showing us the mood how to enter Vrindavan. So Rupa and Sanatana are advising him not to go with hundreds and thousands of followers there. It's not the right mood to go in there. It's different when we do like the Vajramandal Parakram, or if we do the Navadvip Parakram, where you walk around Navadvip for a week, or if you do the Vajramandal Parakram, which goes for, I think, about a month. You go with a group of devotees, but it's done in a mood of service. But it's saying that you shouldn't go there with followers and becoming, because you can go in a mood of false prestige, just thinking, look how many followers I have. Because one of our problems we have, which is a block to our bhakti, is called pratishta, or desires for profit, adoration and distinction. So we don't want to magnify or agitate those desires for this pratishta, which is very strongly rooted within our heart. Yet sometimes people take to Krishna consciousness and the motivation is to, so to speak, go up the corporate ladder and get position, and therefore they can get honour and prestige and these sort of things. And it does go on. It does go on. Even Prabhupada makes comments like this about the wrong motivation for becoming a devotee. Very, very neophyte mentality. And we can see that's what actually happened to the Gaudiya Mutt as well, that Gaudiya Mutt was Bhakti Siddhanta Sarasvati Thakur's preaching establishment that he created, called the Gaudiya Mutt. Just as Prabhupada created ISKCON, Bhakti Siddhanta Sarasvati Thakur created the Gaudiya Mutt. And he did warn Prabhupada, like on one occasion he said that there'll be fire in the mutt when he leaves. He said there'll be fire in the mutt. So we can see what happened after Bhakti Siddhanta Sarasvati Thakur left his body. Then there was infighting and arguing. There was a particular disciple, I think his name was Ananta Vasudev, who was a close disciple of Bhakti Siddhanta Sarasvati Thakur. And when Bhakti Siddhanta Sarasvati Thakur was present, a lot of disciples would approach this Ananta Vasudev to give explanations to understand some of the theological points that were being made in the class. So when Bhakti Siddhanta Sarasvati Thakur left, this Ananta Vasudev started positioning himself to be the next Acharya, even though Bhakti Siddhanta Sarasvati Thakur made it clear in his will that for there to be a GBC. He didn't want there to be an Acharya system. So the followers of Bhakti Siddhanta Sarasvati Thakur, they didn't follow that instruction, and then began fighting amongst themselves who the next Acharya was. So some of them voted for this Ananta Vasudev to become the next Acharya, and another group fell away as well. So this way they began fighting and arguing about, well, who owns this temple, who owns that property, and it got so bad at one point they actually sold the personal printing press of Bhakti Siddhanta Sarasvati Thakur, It was all about printing books, and they sold his printing press because they were arguing to pay for the legal fees. So this Ananta Vasudeva, Prabhupada, in one of his Vyasa Puja homages in about 1954, was very, really heavy towards this Ananta Vasudeva and was calling him a jackal and used very strong language against him. And this Ananta Vasudeva was a sannyasi, but he couldn't maintain the sannyasi ashram, and he ended up living in Vrindavan at Radhakund as a Radhakund Baba, and he got married there and married a lady, and they had a son together. And then when the son was 10 years old, he realised the mother was having an extramarital relationship with somebody else, another Babaji at Radhakund. And so the son threatened the mother, saying, well, if you don't stop this, I'm going to tell everybody what you're doing. So then the mother, she arranged to get the son killed, so the son was killed. And then at this time, I think the Ananta Vasudeva was known as Puridas. He was no longer a sannyasi, and he killed himself too. He suicided because he said, oh, well, my son is dead, my wife's having affairs, what's the point in living? And also I think at that stage he was becoming quite critical towards some of the teachings of Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakur. He was philosophically challenging some of the points that Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakur was making. So yeah, that was the downfall of the Gaudiya Math and this Ananta Vasudeva. The whole thing fell apart. So we can see we have to be very, very careful about when we're living in these holy places not to be offensive towards the Dham and towards the devotees, especially to the Guru. We know that we say that every morning, to disobey the orders of the spiritual master. These things are offences, and these are real blockages towards a development in spiritual life. And on that note, because we're talking about offences and the Holy Dham, and Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu is getting in the right consciousness to visit Vrindavan, we can look at some of the offences to avoid when visiting the Dham, because just as there are offences to the holy name, there are also 10 offences to the holy Dham. So the first one is, this is from the Archana Padati, which is a deity worship manual. So the first one is to show contempt or disrespect for the Guru who reveals Vrindavan Dham. So there's an image here of the Vraj Mandala, and it shows all the different places. If you do the Vraj Mandal Parakram, you walk around the whole of the Vraj Mandala and you visit all these different places. So I haven't done it yet, but it's on my bucket list to do one day, is to do the Vraj Mandal Parakram. I've done the Navadweep Parakram, where you walk around Navadweep, which is really ecstatic, and then the Vraj Mandal Parakram, which takes about a month to do it. And the devotees I know have you done it, Sadhana? You've done the Vraj Mandal? Yeah, you've done it. Anyone else? Manibanda, you've done it? Yeah, it's pretty ecstatic. I hear it's a very ecstatic experience. Yeah, you'd recommend devotees to do it? Wow, that's just with the ISKCON group going around? Right, yeah. I mean, there are austerities there, but, it's very, very ecstatic to be fully absorbed in Krishna's pastime places in Vrindavan. I think Prabhupada instructed that way too. He said that you should wander Vrindavan and explore Vrindavan. So Prabhupada did encourage that. So there is a precedent set there by the acharyas to do that. So anyway, to show contempt or disrespect for the Guru who reveals Vrindavan Dham. Number 2, to think that Vrindavan Dham is temporary, because Bhoma Vrindavan, or this manifestation of Vrindavan on this earthly plane, is non-different from the Vrindavan in the spiritual world. So when Krishna appears in this earthly realm, it's called Bhoma Vrindavan, and in the spiritual world it's called Goloka Vrindavan. So this is where Krishna appears, and he brings all his associates to perform his pastimes within Vraj Mandala. It's shaped, explained there, you can see it's shaped like a lotus flower. So some people would ask Prabhupada about, if Krishna in the morning is having his pastimes here, and he's having his other pastimes in the afternoon, which is miles and miles away, how does that work? And Prabhupada said it's because it's like a lotus flower. So according to Krishna's pastimes, the lotus flower can open or close, and then he can go to these different pastime places to enjoy himself in Vrindavan. So as explained, it's shaped like this lotus flower that can open and close. So, number 2, to think that Vrindavan Dham is temporary. Number 3, to commit violence towards any of the Brijbasis, residents or pilgrims, or to think that they are ordinary people. And we can see in Vrindavan, modern day Vrindavan, it is quite dangerous actually, that there are lots of criminal activities that go on over there. Even our beloved Caritamrita, when he was the temple president of the ISKCON Krishna Balaram, he was shot actually one time as well. So there are these elements that do go on there in Vrindavan, but it's an offence to be violent to any of the residents or pilgrims, or to think that they're ordinary people. Because we understand anything that takes birth in Vrindavan, we have to look beyond just the material covering, because when you go to Vrindavan you can see dogs and hogs and all sorts of living entities over there. But we have to understand with the right consciousness that they're not ordinary living entities. They've taken birth in this holy dham, so they need to be respected. When we were over there, I took my family over there in 2023. So my daughters, they took it upon themselves. Their service was to feed the dogs of Vrindavan. So they would feed this leftover food and things to the puppies and dogs there. And they got into that mood of serving the dogs of Vrindavan. But it's good they understood that they're not ordinary living entities. Number 4, to perform mundane activities while living in Vrindavan Dham. So it's explained that it's not good to try and generate your livelihood using the Dham for that. To earn money by and making a business of deity worship and Harinam. And you have to be very careful of that, in particularly Vrindavan, because there's over 5,000 temples in Vrindavan town alone, and a lot of those have been set up so people can get donations and make money and create a livelihood around their deity worship and their temple. And you walk past a lot of these temples and people are always saying, hey, come in, because they want you to give some money to them. So that's something that should be avoided. And sometimes even the residents of the Dham need to be reminded that it is actually a holy Dham. When I think we visited Radhakund in 2018, and one of the local ladies came up and with their rubbish thing and just threw a rubbish in Radhakund, the most sacred place in the universe, and she came and threw a rubbish in there. So sometimes even the actual residents of the Dham, they need to be reminded that this is a holy tirtha. I think every number of years they clean out Radhakund as well. They actually take all the Kund water out, and then you can see from the bottom of the Kund there's like a natural spring that comes up, and it's, I think, like the colour of milk that comes up. There's some pastime where the Kund is filled up from a natural spring of cow's milk, so they can see that when it comes up. And the devotees do service and they clean all the stairs and they clean out the mud from the Kund. I don't know if you've done that, Sadhana or Manibandha Prabhu. You've cleaned out Radhakund before, or no? Yeah. Yeah, I know. My friend Bhakti Sandaswami lives there, and he does that. He'll clean out the Kund. And also you can see the original Radha Kund, which was Vajranabha, Krishna's grandson. He established Radha Kund there, and you can see the original foundations of where the Kund actually was, because the modern-day Radha Kund and Shyama Kund were built by Raghunath Das Goswami. It's quite a large area, but the original one was much smaller. So you can see the original Radha Kund that was established there by Krishna's grandson. So a very special place. So to earn money by and making a business of deity worship and Harinam. Number 6, to think Vrindavan Dham belongs to a mundane country or province like Uttar Pradesh, to equate Vrindavan Dham with the holy place of the demigods, to attempt to measure the area of Raj. So these things are all offences. It's interesting because I think Bhakti Sandra Sarasvati Thakur gave one definition of Maya as that which can be measured. So we shouldn't try and think that the Holy Dham is like 80 square kilometres, whatever the measurement is, that it's actually unlimited. But with our mundane vision, we always have to think in linear and spatial thoughts. Everything has to be measured and distanced, and everything has to be done in a linear time. But the transcendental realm doesn't work like that at all. Number 7, to commit sinful acts while residing in Vrindavan Dham. So we understand you have to be very, very careful not to make offences or commit sinful activities while residing in Vrindavan Dham, because not only is the spiritual potency is magnified, or whatever service is done within the Dham, but also offences can be magnified too. So one has to be very, very careful when visiting any holy place to avoid sinful activities and be very, very respectful towards the Dhamvasis who live in these places. Number 8, to consider Vrindavan and Navadvip to be different. So Navadvip Dham is considered non-different from Vrindavan Dham, just as Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu is considered non-different from Krishna himself. So the two Dhams are non-different. Just like when you go on the Navadvip Parakram, then all of the holy places that are Vrindavan are also manifest in Navadvip. Like there's actually a Govardhana hill there, and there's different pastime places in Navadvip that are also found within Vrindavan. And Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakur, at his mutt just down the road from the ISKCON centre, he established a Radha Kund there and a Shama Kund, and also a Govardhana hill there as well at his temple. The Govardhana's small, but it's non-different from Govardhana in Braj, and you can do parikrama around it. We like to do Dandavat parikrama around it because it's a bit easier to do. It's only very, very small. It takes 10 minutes to do Dandavat parikrama around this Govardhana hill that was established by Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakur. But we should have that mentality that they're the same, non-different, Vrindavan and Navadvip. So number 9, to blaspheme the Shastras that glorify Vrindavan Dham. So there's many scriptures written by the Acharyas that talk about the glories of Vrindavan Dham. So we should be careful to avoid criticising those or thinking that they're just mundane, or put our mundane projections onto them, thinking, how can these descriptions be real? Even Krishna's pastimes, it says that there were so many millions and millions of cows and many, many descriptions given, so we can put our mundane conceptions upon it, which we should avoid doing. Remember, that was the first instruction I was given by Caitanya Swami when I met him in Auckland in 1996, I think it was. They had a little altar at the preaching centre in Newmarket, and I had long hair at the time, and I think someone commented about my long hair, or Dave Maharaj commented about my long hair, and I said, but your Krishna's got long hair, and he goes, don't put your mundane conceptions, or don't put your material conceptions upon the deity. So we have to be careful not to do that with the holy Dham and Krishna as well. Number 10, to be faithless and think that the glories of Vrindavan Dham are imaginary. So we hear wonderful descriptions about the holy Dham, and also sometimes we hear wonderful descriptions about the holy name, about the power of the holy name. So sometimes we may doubt these things or think it's just an exaggeration. So we shouldn't have that mentality and put our material conditioned concepts upon the holy Dham or the holy name actually as well. So if anyone's planning on going to Vrindavan with the holy Dhams, those are things to meditate upon or take within your heart, those understandings, so you go within the right mood. Don't go with a large crowd of followers and observe these guide rules to visiting the holy Dham, so we don't make offences, so we get the most out of visiting these holy theatres. And Prabhupada said that I think he wanted his ISKCON devotees to go there at least once or twice a year to Vrindavan, because living in the West, and especially when you're preaching, can be quite contaminating when you're out there meeting the public and doing books. So it's very good to be mindful of that. If you're doing that service, to make sure you do go to the holy Dham. Don't think it's not important. It's very important, because you notice when you're there, it's just easy to chant, and everyone's a devotee, and you can appreciate that Sangha and visit these places that you're reading about, and you get a lot of inspiration as well from visiting these holy Dhams, and you want to share these theatres with people. Remember Dinabandhu Prabhu, when he was here, was saying that the job of the Guru is to point people to Vrindavan. So if we're out distributing books and meeting the public and presenting Krishna consciousness, that's the role, is to push people, direct people towards Vrindavan Dham. So we have to have inspiration and know what the Dham is, and have an understanding, have a relationship and a connection with the Dham. It's a very important part of our Krishna consciousness. So, Lord Caitanya visits Vrindavan. I've got a bit of time left. So that's Rajmandal. So Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu did visit Vrindavan. After he took sannyas, that was his intention, is like, right, I'm going to go to Vrindavan. And then they played a trick on him, that when he was going along the Ganga, and there was some young cowherd boys there chanting Hari Hari, and Lord Nityananda Prabhu told them, when you see Lord Caitanya, tell him that this is the road to Vrindavan. So Lord Caitanya, because he's absorbed in ecstasy, he asked these young cow herders, where is the road to Vrindavan? They said, this is the road here, you're on the way to Vrindavan. And then he saw the Ganga and mistook it for the Yamuna, so he jumped into the Ganga thinking it was the Yamuna. And then Adwaita Acharya had arranged to be on a boat. Nityananda had said to him, bring a boat along, so when he jumps into the Ganga thinking it's the Yamuna, you can pick him up in the boat. So Adwaita Acharya picked up Lord Caitanya in the boat and then took him to Shantapur, his hometown. And in Shantapur was Sachimata, Lord Chaitanya's mother, and she had wanted to see Lord Caitanya, because once he's taken sannyas, it means effectively you're cutting your relationship with all your family and friends and these things. And Lord Chaitanya was a very strict sannyasi, but his mother wanted him to reside in Jagannath Puri so she could always hear news, because the devotees for Bengal were always going to Orissa for Rath Yatra and other festivals and Chatamas, so they would see Lord Chaitanya and would get news and bring that news back to Sachimata. So Sachimata requested Lord Chaitanya to reside in Jagannath Puri. So to honour his mother's request, that's why Lord Chaitanya resided in Jagannath Puri. And the devotees, as I was mentioning, were always thwarting his attempts to go to Vrindavan, because they didn't want to leave, they didn't want to lose his association, because they knew that if Lord Chaitanya goes to Vrindavan, he'll be away for months and months, and we're not going to see him. So they always came up with these little devised plans about how to keep him close by in Jagannath Puri. So they arranged that first time, and then another time they were always coming up with excuses. Don't go to Vrindavan during Chatumas because it's going to be rainy, it's going to be flooded, so you just stay in Jagannath Puri, and it could be dangerous there as well. So they're always devising plans to keep Lord Chaitanya in Jagannath Puri so they wouldn't lose his association, because he was so dear to their hearts. Lord Chaitanya would follow those instructions. But in the year 1515, he would have been 29. He took sannyas at the age of 24. So when he was 29 years old, he'd been a sannyas for about 5 years. In the year 1515, that is the year he first went to Vrindavan. And when he visited Vrindavan, one of his reasons for going there was obviously internally to relish the pastimes of Radha and Krishna, and to feel that a mood of separation that Radharani feels from Lord Krishna. So he was really absorbed in that mood when he was in Vrindavan. But also he found many of the pastime places there as well when he visited Vrindavan. Because even before Lord Chaitanya went there, I think Lokanath Maharaj and Burgaba Goswami had been to Vrindavan. I think there's some instruction to find some of the holy places, but they had some difficulty doing that. And so Lord Chaitanya personally went to Vrindavan Dham, and one of the places he discovered when he was there was actually Radha Kund. When he was in Radha Kund at that time, there was a rice paddy, just a paddock with rice paddy growing within it. And so Radha Kund, because of the passing of time, had disappeared. So Lord Chaitanya he knew it was Radha Kund, so he became very ecstatic and started bathing in this rice paddy field. And then the devotees realised, well, this is actually Radha Kund. So that place that Lord Chaitanya discovered, Radha Kund, is still there. There's a nice temple that's just been built there recently and renovated quite recently, and there's beautiful murals and artwork inside of that, and that's the place that Lord Chaitanya discovered this Radha Kund. And of course he instructed Rupa and Sanatan to go to Vrindavan specifically to find these pastime places. So Lord Chaitanya himself did find some of them, but the rest of that service was left to Rupa and Sanatan Goswami. And so because of their mercy, these places are there today that we can visit. We know the location of them. Just like with the birthplace of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was lost over time because the Ganga had changed course. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur was trying to work out where it was, and at that time the local villagers said that there was a place there which had a mound with tulsi growing on it, and they said there were strange noises that were coming from there at night time, and so they thought the place was haunted. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur suspected that could have been Lord Chaitanya's birthplace, so he brought Jagannath Das Babaji to that place, and at that time Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj was very, very old and invalid, and he was carried around in a basket. He had a servant who carried him in a basket on his back. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur arranged for Jagannath Das Babaji to come to this place, and then when he saw it, because he was so old, his eyes, the skin over his eyes was actually folded over his eyes so to see. He had to lift up his eyelids just to see. So when he got to this place, even though he's an invalid and old and was hunched over and had to be carried in a basket, he suddenly jumped out and was like, Haribo, Haribo, Haribo. He became really ecstatic because he knew that this was the birthplace of Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu, the yoga pit. So now there's Bhakti Santa Saraswati Thakur has built a really beautiful temple there with wonderful deities, and there's a hut outside a neem tree where it said that Lord Caitanya was born under a neem tree, which was why his name was Nimai. So there's a neem tree growing there, and he has a very, very nice place. And there next to that, I think, is Gorakund. It's like we have Radhakund and Shamakund. There's a Gorakund, so you can bathe in this Gorakund. When we were there in 2018, Padmalochan almost left his body because there's a coconut tree growing at the entrance into the Kund, and the coconut fell down and just missed Padmalochan. It was pretty close. So, the Gorakund is there. So Padmalochan lived to tell another tale. It wasn't his time yet, but would have been quite a glorious way to go, right? Leaving your body and hit by a coconut, a falling coconut in Gorakund, like that'd be a good way to leave your body. If I'm going to go, that's the way I'd like to go. Okay, interesting. Yeah, well, definitely saw Padmalochan below. I missed him. So, he's a devotee of Krishna. Better not hit him. So so there's lots of pastime places in Vrindavan with Lord Caitanya when he was there. He stayed initially in Mathura. He stayed with a Brahmana family in Mathura, and he bathed in the Yamuna River at Vishram Ghat, and went for darshan of the Krishna deity at the Janmastan there. Walked around Mathura, went to various forests in Vrindavan, bathed in the Yamuna, because originally Vrindavan is made up of 12 different forests, Madhuban, Talaban, Kumadan, Bahulaban, so many forests that are no longer there anymore, which is why all the monkeys are running feral, because all their forests have been stolen and taken away from them. But at that time when Lord Caitanya visited, there were these forests, so he would go to these forests and would be in great ecstasy, relishing these pastime places of Krishna. And also, on his way to Vrindavan, before he got there, that's when the famous pastime when he travelled to the Jarikanda forest, and all of the animals in this forest were dancing in ecstasy. The lions and the tigers, Bengali tigers, and the monkeys. Lord Caitanya was doing kirtan there, and he had an assistant with him. So the assistant relayed to everybody. This is how we know this pastime took place, because he had a brahmachari assistant with him, because the devotees had insisted he take a servant with him. So this brahmachari relayed that when he was going through this Jarikanda forest, all these animals were dancing in ecstasy. There's a nice quote there from the Bhagavatam that Vrindavan is the transcendental abode of the Lord. There is no hunger, anger, or thirst there. Although naturally inimical, human beings and fierce animals live together in transcendental friendship. So that is very much so the Vrindavan mood. And Lord Caitanya could really appreciate that Vrindavan mood of everyone, no envy, because there's no envy in Vrindavan. So there's no, hierarchy of animals fighting and killing, trying to be the alpha animal. So Lord Caitanya appreciated that atmosphere. So he visited Vrindavan. There's a temple, Hari Dev. I think he danced before this deity very ecstatically. That deity's still there, so you can visit this deity still in Vrindavan. And did Govardhana Parakram, so he visited many, many places while he was in Vrindavan. For a period he had a Govardhana Shila, like a little square one, which he would rub it with great love and affection, and because it was rubbing it, the little hollow came in this Govardhana Shila, and I think that Govardhana Shila was given to Raghunath Das Goswami, and that's still there. You can still have darshan of this Govardhana Shila in one of the temples still in Vrindavan today. So lots of nectar there. Anyway, we'll stop because it's 8:30. So, anyone, quick questions or Madhya Prabhu? I'll just read one pastime quickly. While walking, this is in Vrindavan, the Lord saw two parrots in dialogue and was eager to hear their conversation. On cue, the parrots flew down near him. Krishnadas Kaviraj describes their conversation in detail. First, the male parrot glorified Krishna's beauty and the effect he had on the gopis. The parrot then said that Krishna's company was so alluring that even Lakshmi Dev underwent penance to take part in Krishna's pastimes of the gopis. Because Krishna is Jagat Mohan, the one who attracts everyone in the universe, the female parrot in turn spoke of Sri Radhika's glorious beauty, her delightful singing and her admirable intelligence, calling her Shushilita, of excellent morals, and Chitta Mohini, the attractor of the mind. The male parrot continued Krishna's glorification, calling him Vamsi Dari, the holder of the flute, Chitta Hari, stealer of the mind, and Madan Mohan, attractor of Cupid. The female parrot's response was a more intense veneration of Radharani. In this way, Caitanya Mahaprabhu relished the sweet glorifications of Radha and Krishna. So these parrots are servants of Tulsi Devi. When you go to Vrindakund, there's parrots still there because they are flying around Vrindavan and keeping, it's how the news travels through Vrindavan, what Radha and Krishna are doing through this parrot network. So, yeah, these parrots are still there. Manibanda.
So it's interesting that even though Vrindavan is such a sacred place, they can be described as a very dangerous place as well. A lot of dacoits and mafia. And so I did hear that there's 4 primary dacoit groups that operate in Vrindavan. I think it was the Tiwaris, the Yadavas, the Pandus or Pandavas, and the 4th one is the police, basically. So I did hear there was 2 opposing, two persons, like from opposing groups, are having a big fight in the marketplace, and eventually the police took them away, and one of them said, "Oh, Krishna won't be pleased with that," So despite that, there's still devotees of some sort. So lots of different rasas going on there.
Yeah, I heard about like one devotee he's from Vrindavan. He's a dacoit, like quite not a nice person, and then I think he was shot by the police or something, and then when he was about to leave his body, he started chanting Jai Radha Madhava. So yeah, even though they have that covering, that their heart is still taken by Krishna. Tamal Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Would you say New Govardhana is non-different than Vrindavan?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's established by an acharya, so yeah, you could say it's non-different. Definitely, I mean, it is. Yeah, I mean, Prabhupada said that about Melbourne. He said, don't think that this is Melbourne. He said, this is Vaikuntha. Then he said, no, it's not Vaikuntha. This is Vrindavan. So yeah, I mean, Krishna has manifested here, and there's devotional service going on. So yeah, that is Vrindavan. Yeah, just like when Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu, wherever he was travelling, he was so absorbed in Krishna that everywhere he was going, he was seeing Vrindavan. Like even in Jagannath Puri, they had the sand dunes there, and he mistook them. What are they called? The Chatakapavata, and he saw those as Govardhan Hill, even though they weren't. Materially, you could say it was wrong, but his consciousness was Vrindavan, so he was seeing Vrindavan everywhere. So. Yeah, definitely. These holy theatres, what do you call them? What do they call them? Extensions of the Dham or embassies? Yeah, embassies of the holy Dham. Very much so. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So, like, when you were talking before about the offences towards the Dham, you mentioned that, like, maintaining one's livelihood based around service to the Dham, like, is an offence.
Or using the Dham to make a livelihood out of the Dham.
Making a livelihood.
Yeah, like having a temple and like doing it because I can make money out of this temple.
Yeah, it's because it's kind of hard to, like, I guess, to get my head around that, because it's like you can have, like, there is pujaris who are making money from doing pujari work in temples.
I don't know if they're going to be usually, because I've been maintained by a temple myself, but it's a stipend which is enough to pay for basic bills, but you're not become wealth and rich. You're being maintained as a pujari by an ISKCON temple.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it's kind of like, to maintain one's livelihood, doing to use a temple as a place for maintaining your livelihood. It's kind of like, where do you draw the line, I suppose, in the sand for that? It's because it's like, you could be like, oh, but yeah, it kind of seems like a bit of a, I suppose if you're doing it to maintain.
Well, it's all based on the consciousness behind it. Like if you have the right consciousness, you're not doing it, because I'm getting money, I'm doing this because I'm going to get paid, I get to get pay rise. I mean, if you're doing that mentality, then that's off. But if you're doing it the right state of mind, that Krishna's been very kind, he's maintaining me so I can do my service nicely for him. So it's just based on the mentality behind it. Yeah.
It's a tricky one. It's a tricky slope because, I don't know, do you mind if I share something?
Sure.
Is that all right?
Sure.
Because I remember when I was living in the temple, I heard that the pujaris were making money, and then I was like, oh, I want to like. It was only just for basic things. It was just like a few things that I liked to have to help. Like I felt like I needed for my service. But yeah, I don't know. I've kind of just then you're sort of, I don't know. I think like it can sort of, and you're always thinking about like like the money side of things, I suppose. And
yeah, well, look, also, I mean, everyone's got a different mentality. Not everyone's a Brahmana. Like, if someone's not really Brahmanically inclined, because a Brahmin is there for that reason, just to do the service and live simply. But if someone's not inclined Brahmanically, then, yeah, they're going to have their mind will be disturbed because they're thinking about the money, you know. So that's there as well as our sort of dependency, whatever our Varna is. That can be there too. But, yeah, I mean, generally, if you're living under a temple, you're agreeing to live very simply, and you're just doing it for the pleasure of the deities. That has to be the mentality behind it. You're agreeing to live very simply. I mean, if you look at Prabhupada's instructions for the new Govardhana farm, he said, yeah, live simply, you know, make all the buildings out of locally supplied products, bamboo, timbers and these sort of things. So, yeah, just to live simply, you know. That's what is, when you go to Vrindavan, that's they live very simply, you know. And, you know, actually a devotee isn't concerned about the money because Krishna will provide. You know, that's the mentality. You have to have that dependency that Krishna will provide. Be prepared to live simply and have that mood of Krishna will provide what I need. Yeah. Prabhupada did say for grihastas they shouldn't be dependent on a temple. Like, I mean, I've had both worlds where I was dependent on a temple financially in Melbourne, and then I live independently now, and I find myself just more peaceful, and I do live financially independent from the temple. I'm happy to come and do service. I'm not all disturbed about how much I'm getting paid for cooking a Sunday feast and how much I'm getting paid for doing this abhishek. You know, I'm not thinking like that because it's not a concern. So that's why it's better to be financially independent if you're married or planning on getting married, just to be set up independent so you're not disturbed, you know. Yeah. Mani Bandha Prabhu?
Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, he would criticise some of the Babas in Vrindavan that they're simply using Shalagram Shila to crack peanuts. In other words, using them to maintain themselves, you know, by worshipping Shalagram, I'm making lots of money.
Yeah.
So he criticised that mentality.
Yeah. So you've got to check yourself. That's why it's good to have devotee friends, so you can say, oh, Prabhu, I'm kind of thinking this way. Am I thinking a bit off here? So you can bounce that off other devotees or older devotees, whoever it may be. Yeah. Anyway, shall we stop? You had a question? Or? No? Okay. All right, we better stop. Otherwise, Prasadam's going to go. We're going to run out of Prasadam. Everyone's going to go hungry. Jai, Shri Krishna's Coverage Goswami Ki Jai, Caritamrita Ki Jai, Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Shri Krishna's Coverage Goswami Ki Jai, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Ki Jai, Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai, Shri Gauranitai Ki Jai, Radha Govardhana Ki Jai, Shri Krishna Balaram